Matthew 7, 16 through 18. By their fruit you will recognize them. Do people pick grapes from their thorn bushes or figs from their thistles? Likewise, every good tree bears good fruit, but the bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. Now, sometimes you be questioning the tree. You look at it, it ain't the attractiveness of the tree that's in question. It's the fruit the tree is producing. See, but if the tree produces good fruit, that means it must be a good tree, right? That's what the Bible says. So we gonna roll with what the Bible say. Cause I can look at the fruit and be like, that's good fruit right there. See, it might need a little development, but ain't nobody perfect. Ain't nobody perfect. But I like the spirit of the fruit. I do like the spirit. And the spirit had to come from the mother, right? It had to come from the tree. Like, yeah. That's where the fruit doesn't bend is with the tree. So any positivity I see in the fruit had to come from the tree. And I'm just saying, if it's your tree in your yard, you can question why that tree ain't looking right. That's a legitimate question. What's going on with the tree? Like, it ain't getting enough water. It ain't getting enough. What's going on? Something going on. I know this tree. So, like, I know that tree. Something going on with that tree. I don't question the fruit none. So I ain't saying it's a bad tree. I ain't trying to cut the tree down. Now, if it's a problem, like we about to cut a branch off. But that's a whole nother thing for a whole nother day. And I don't know. Now, if you done watched a couple of my videos, the older ones, because I ain't just started doing this. I was doing this about almost 2 years ago. Same kind of thing. I don't even think I was calling it prophetic word 2 years ago, but I was still doing the same thing a while back. But I like parables. A man had a fig tree planted on his vineyard, and he came looking for fruit on it, and found none. So he said to the gardener, "See here, 3 years I have came looking for fruit on this fig tree, and still find none. Cut it down. Why should it be wasting soil?" He replied, "Sir, let it alone for 1 more year till I dig around it and put manure on it. If it bears no fruit next year, well and good. But if not, you can go and cut it down." Okay, so point number 1, it's a fig tree. It's a tree planted in a vineyard. You don't plant trees in vineyards. You plant trees in orchards. Point number 1. Why is this important? Because the area where the fig tree was planted was not the correct place for the fig tree to be. Due to environmental constraints, that might be why the fig tree wasn't producing no figs. Now, see, I had to read. I did a little reading. See what somebody else said, and some of that, that was stretching. So we ain't gonna hit my interpret my opinions on Bible analysis. So we ain't gonna get that. But I did see one that was pretty good. See, it said Luke probably took the figs off the tree because the first year's fruit is supposed to go to God. See, I always heard that myself, and like, I got fruit trees, but the first year they produced fruit, I just took all the fruit off and threw it on the ground. Be like, why you do that? There's actually logical reasoning on why you do that besides like the Bible, like, because really, like, I'll just tell you, like, if you take the fruit off the first year, it'll produce more fruit the second year. That's kind of like the logic in that. Like, I think scientifically it works out because a tree instead of trying to produce fruit that first year, it just keeps growing and becomes a stronger tree. That's just my analysis of the situation on trees. Now, I said this before. Back during biblical times, everybody was a farmer, so some of this stuff made a little more sense. But most fig trees take 3 to 5 years to start ripening fruit. Prior to that, the figs may form along the stem where each leaf attaches, but they won't ripen. Potted figs may bear fruit sooner. Now, that's kind of strange. That sounds like the fig tree needs some kind of stress to produce fruit. How to get your fig tree to produce fruit. If your fig tree is putting on too much energy in the branches and leaf growth rather than setting fruit, identify the new growth branches if they may be more flexible than the old growth. Pinch off the tips. This setback will encourage setting of fruit. I be telling folks, if you got questions, Google got answers. So, what this tells me about fig trees is that, just like people, sometimes they gotta go through a little setback for the come up. See, it was just a pretty tree. It's just producing, it's making branches and leaves, but it ain't producing no fruit. You don't plant a tree to look at it. Well, some of them you do, but in this case, you ain't planting a fig tree just to look at it. Also, what I find very interesting with that, just because I have been doing my own little research on planting a vineyard. See, if you fertilize grapes, you would just have leaves and branches, and you won't produce grapes. Grapes, it's weird. It ain't like most plants. Like it take a little. It's an art to it more so than a science, I say. You know what I'm saying? See, because most plants, just using common logic. We ain't gonna say what you really do, but just using common logic, you gonna put the fertilizer on it and you gonna try to juice it up and try to get as much out of it. But that ain't gonna work. That's gonna go the opposite of what you trying to do. Kind of guessing fig trees kind of the same way. Like, because they say you gotta pinch off the tips to set it back to make it produce fruit. Something about that. I really shouldn't even go here with y'all, but I'ma go there. I done had my times in life. I done did some things. I done tried some things. But see, here's the thing. This is what I'm talking about, it's more art than a science. It is actually a science. But, you just don't plant a seed and get no bud. That ain't how it works. You gotta know what you're doing. It's on how you. It's a lot to go into that. It's the environment. It's how many hours of light you getting. Like it's so much go into that. The humidity, boy, it's a lot go into that. Now, there's a lot to go into to do it right. But you know what I done found? Sometimes the best smoking bud come from when you don't do shit at all. When you just let it happen how it happen. So I'm going to break some more stuff down to you. LST, low stress training. See, if you really just let a weed plant just grow how it grows, it's going to grow like a Christmas tree. See how the one on the bottom, how they got it tied down? And you see really like more light get across the whole plant. And that way you reap more fruit. See, because you want the fruit. You just ain't trying to grow Christmas trees out here, is you? Okay, keep following me. I just wasn't high and just wanted to talk about weed. Like, okay. See, weed plants come in two different kinds. You got a male plant and a female plant. But see, the third one is a hermaphrodite. See, a hermaphrodite can only be a female. A male can't harm me. You can't have a male harm me. A male can't turn into a female. But when you stress a female, she'll turn into a hermaphrodite. She'll develop male parts. Now, in some plants, you do need a male and female plant to produce fruit, but not in weed. In marijuana, see, the female plant is the only one that produces bud. And actually, it's better if there's not a male around because it won't have seeds. Now, this don't play out the same way in humans. Nobody, nowhere has ever said, like, being a single parent is the best route to go. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying you can't be successful. I'm just saying it probably ain't the best route to go if you have a better option. Now, I love my tree. I love the fruit it produces. Now, I might have tried to LST my tree because I saw some things wasn't going right. But it was reasoning on for separation. But when I came back, my tree wasn't the same. I got some questions on that. I'm not trying to blame the victim. At one point, I ain't even gonna say I'm still trying to figure out who the victim, and the victim seemed to be the fruit. That's really how I be feeling. The only victim is the fruit. Because there's already somebody take care of the tree and the fruit. So, it ain't no reason for my tree to be stressing, is it?